Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about some cool neural network looking thing I made. Well, not technically a neural network, but oh well, you'll see. You may see these little agents in the background. They're being run by the weird abomination I've made in 10 minutes. You may wonder, what's their goal, and what are they doing? So you may see the green dot, and you can probably guess that's their goal. They're going towards that position, and they get reward for going higher and more to the right. If they stay on the platform too long, they take damage, and if they fall off, then they can't do anything, and it stops wasting processing power on those disappointments. Now, let's look at how this works, because you've all probably seen something like this already with a neural network, but this design is a little more different. Now let's first look into a normal neural network. By average, you'll have inputs layer, a computational layer, and an output layer. The outputs would control things like movement and rotation, and the inputs would just be position and velocities. The middle layer is the neural network itself, which will process all this data using multipliers, additions, and other things, based on neurons and connections. Now let's look at my version. The neural network you can think of like a web, though this version is a little bit more different. My version is more like a wire or a string. Now, you may wonder, why would you use a wire? Well, it's way better and more simple. Well, not better, but it is way more simple, and it usually learns a little faster in my opinion. This wire you can apply forces to. Usually with a neural network, these forces being inputs and stuff, but this thing, it just kind of does that. Don't question it, but it has inputs, and these inputs affect the value of the wire, because this wire can always be a single value, with its line being through how far it's gone through calculation. Of course, you can still multiply these inputs by the connection strength values, or just V in this case. And like a normal neural network, it starts with the input, does all the calculations, and then ends with an output. Thankfully, with this design though, you can have however many layers you want. With a normal neural network, inputs and outputs are determined by how many neurons you have, which determines how smart it can get. But with this design, the amount of neurons you can have, like inputs and outputs you can have, is completely determined by how many strings you have. Of course, you don't have to have a large amount of strings for inputs, since inputs are along the side of the string. Imagine having a string in your office, or room, or whatever, and you nudge it along with your finger. That would basically be the inputs. The start of the string being the base input, and the rest being alternated by these values. So this is my core design, basically. Now let's look at how these work. These guys' inputs and outputs being their inputs being their position, velocities, and the target's position and velocities. They also have a single value for storing memories, which you could kind of think like a loop for a string. Now, when these little guys hit a platform, or they aren't in midair, they lose health, or points. Now, another difference between this design I've made and others that I think makes it also a little more simpler is it just stores a copy of the best neural network so far, instead of the best one from solely the first generation, or the generation that it's running on. This allows it to go back in time, basically, to use something better. However, this better neural network that may be doing better than the others, if the others still aren't getting past some kind of blockade, or they aren't getting better score yet, then the neural network will change slightly and mutate inside of its own spot. These little guys also, of course, mutate a little bit, but the neural network that's best of all time mutates less, thankfully. Now this is the core design for this, and you may ask, well, why Why are you talking about this? I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I made this in like 5 minutes. Like not the neural network, but like the display stuff. That's all in Scratch. Like look, it's literally like presentation. You can press space and it goes through all this stuff. Literally. There's no reason for me to have done this. I don't know why I did this.